doulas. I hope you are well. Today is day 2 of the 12 days of doula school. And in today's chat, we're going to talk a little bit about living on call and what that's like and some of the challenges and some of the solutions that I found after 16 years of on-call living, if you can believe it. So one of the things I remember when I first started was when I was approaching a due date, I was obsessed about being on call. I was always worried and thinking about what I was doing and where I was going, and it felt really intense to be on call all the time. And then over the years, I made some mistakes, and I fixed those and learned from those mistakes. And I've got sort of some tips, some things I want you to consider and think about in terms of living the on-call lifestyle. So the first thing is, let's talk about the reality of being on call and what that actually means. And one of the things that I realized is a lot of people look at this very differently than how I currently experience being on call. I remember hearing from a doula that was telling me how she wasn't leaving her home because, well, she was on call, of course. And I was like, what? Girl, what are you talking about? You can't just stay at home because you have a client that's due. And I think those are probably new doula things when we're feeling a little bit apprehensive about, that first client or those first few clients. So here's what I want to tell you. I want you to live like you're not on call, but be prepared like you are. So that means a few different things. For me, it only means a couple of things. I obviously don't drink very much when I'm on call because you can't exactly, be 2 sheets to the wind and then get a call and go to a client half in the bag. That's a pretty obvious one. So number 1 is I never have more than a glass or so of wine or a drink. And the second thing is my phone is always charged. But other than that, I really just live my life. Because here's the thing that I've learned. I prepare my clients for what it means to connect with each other in early labor and when I want to hear from them. And what I don't want is I don't want a client who calls me frantic well into active labor and that's the first time I've heard from them. That's not a fun way to be a doula and a fun way to live as a doula. So one of the things I spend a lot of time with my clients is talking about how we're going to work together through early labor. And a big part of that is going to be phone or text communication. So number 1, I tell them, listen, my phone is on silent for text and emails all the time because I get so many. So if they're going to text me, that's not for emergencies, that's not for immediate contact, and that's not for through the night. The second thing is my phone is always on and always charged. Literally, there's never a time in 365 days except when my iPhone forces an update on me that my phone is unavailable. That doesn't really happen. I have chargers in my car, I have chargers in my bedroom, I have chargers beside my computer, I have chargers in my purse, I have chargers everywhere so that I can charge my phone if it starts to get low or starts to die when I'm on call. I tell my clients that when they need me urgently, it has to be a phone call, and to make sure that they leave a message if they miss me. Sometimes I'm on a call with other clients, or maybe I'm in the middle of a yoga class, for example, when I'm not going to catch my phone right away. They know to leave me a message and that I'll get back to them just as soon as I can. Now, I've been a doula for a really, really, really long time. And in those years, I think only once did I get one of these sort of 911 go from 0 to 60 type of conversations. And even at that, I actually kind of knew that I did know that my client was already thinking she might be in labor, and then things just went really, really quickly. But in all other circumstances, there's lead up time. There's time where people are thinking, hey, I think this might be labor. And that's when they're supposed to be connecting with me. So during the day, I tell them, let me know that something's brewing. If it's in the middle of the night, I don't really need to know that something's brewing for my particular lifestyle, because when they need me, they can call me, wake me up, and then I'll go then. During the day though, there's a lot of other stuff going on. There might be some appointments, there might be some other client meetings, maybe there's a postpartum shift, maybe there's a childbirth class that I have to teach. And so during the day, I need some lead time to be able to reschedule and reorganize things. And I'm telling you, as a very, very experienced doula who's done hundreds of births, it's very rare that someone doesn't have a little bit of lead time to let me know so that I can restructure my day and or the next couple of days. One of the things that I recommend if you're a brand new doula, or you're a doula maybe or someone who's considering becoming a doula and you're wondering, can I do this in my life? Here's what I'd suggest for you. Over the next 2 weeks, every day, 3 or 4 times per day, ask yourself, what if I got a call now and had to leave within the next few hours? What would I do? Who would I call? What would I need to reschedule? And if you do that for yourself over a period of a couple weeks, what you would realize is, yes, there are some things that would be inconvenient. Yep, missing, a dentist appointment and having to pay that fee. Yeah, that sucks. That's part of being a doula for sure. I will say that there are very, very few things that would keep me from a doula client. And for me personally, if one of my kids had a cold or a flu, that wouldn't be something that would keep me from going to my client. If I'm coming off of a cold or flu, or I'm tired, but I'm not contagious with anything, that's not something that's going to keep me from a client. The only things that would keep me personally from a client is if I were sick in a way that would be contagious for the parents or for the new baby, or that the hospital doesn't permit me to enter because of having a cold or flu or whatever it might be, or if there was a major medical emergency with one of my family members or myself. But otherwise, there's really not too much that I would cancel. So for me, sometimes it means missing Christmas Eve or Christmas morning. It might mean I have left a dinner party before. I've left the middle of a dinner party at my own house with other people to tidy up after me. But you know what? The people in your life, they just get to know that that's your job, and that's part of being a doula. I mean, when you think about it, there are lots of other roles that would have to leave like that, right? It doesn't mean don't live. It just means be prepared to roll with the punches and sometimes to have to make some changes. So that strategy of trying for 2 weeks and just asking yourself 2-3 times a day, hey, what would happen if I got a call now? But what I really want to stress is the importance of talking to our clients about calling us in early labor. And then we get to go back and forth and we get to restructure our day. We get to make some changes and things like that. I always know that if I buy a concert ticket or something like that, maybe I've got someone on standby to take my spot if I have to go. And is that disappointing? Yes, but honestly, those things don't happen all that often. If you think about us spending, maybe on average 12 to 15 hours with a client, and depending on how many clients you take per month, that's not that many hours in a month. I mean, there are way, way, way more hours that aren't those kinds of hours in a month, right? The other thing that I've done differently is oftentimes I won't book things like massage appointments, dentist appointments, hair appointments. I just don't have those things booked in advance. I have often 6 to 8 different massage therapists that I might see, or I go to a company that has a lot of different massage therapists working for them, for example, and I'll call in the morning when I know there's nothing going on with my client, and I'll say, hey, do you have anything for today? And then I know in those instances that I'm likely going to be able to get through my appointment. So same with the dentist. I'm going to visit a dentist that understands my job, and that's not going to charge me the cancellation fee. Or I'm not going to make an appointment until I'm really, really positive that I'm going to be able to attend it if there is going to be a cancellation fee. But over the course of life, there's just a handful of things like that, right? Most things are fine. Most things, this idea that we're going to be a doula that's in the middle of the grocery store and we've got this cart overflowing with things and our client's going to call us frantically and saying, oh my gosh, I need you right now. And you're going to be having to leave your cart full of groceries. That's movie stuff. That's not usually real life doula stuff. Like I said, everything's possible in the world of birth and parenting, but that's not really that common. So I want you to consider that when you're thinking about living life on call. Don't over stress. Be prepared like you're on call, but live life like you're not. Even things like going away an hour or two. away from my usual area of residence. That's definitely something that I still do because my clients are prepping me when they are in early labor. Sometimes what I'll do is if I'm going to go with my family, let's say to a water park, maybe that's going to cost $200 for us to be there for the day. Of course, I don't want to be pulling the kids out after all of that. It would be disappointing for them, and financially it would be expensive. What I might do is I'll go with another adult and bring 2 cars if I've got a client who's due really, really soon. Or maybe what I do is I call my client in the morning and I say, hey, what's been happening? How are you doing? How are you feeling? I don't say, hey, listen, I'm going to the water park. It's going to cost me $100 to bring my kids there. So I need to know if you're going to have a baby today. I don't say that. That's silly. But I call them and just see what's happening. And often what I hear is, oh, this baby's never going to come out. I was just at the doctor, a midwife's appointment, and they said my cervix is long and firm. And you're like, good to know. And it kind of gives you a little bit more reassurance that you're likely to be able to get your day in. And my experience is that, yes, that's true. I'll give you an example. A couple of months ago, I had a client that was starting to near her due date, and I went on one of my partner's boats. And we were in the water and we weren't far from home. I was about an hour drive from home, and the boat was maybe, 15-20 minute drive from shore. And my client started texting me and saying, hey, I think something's maybe starting to happen. I think I feel something kind of brewing. And I said to my partner, hey, I think we're probably going to have to head in at some point soon. And I think maybe we finished our lunch maybe for an hour, and then we headed in, and my client texted again and said, oh yeah, I think this might be real labor, but I'll keep you posted. I'm still not 100% sure. But we started making our way home anyway. And by the time I got home, my client said, okay, yeah, I think I might want you to come soon. And she knew that I come within an hour of being called. That's what's in my contract. And so then I made my way, and everything worked out perfect. It allowed me to enjoy a nice summer day and still allowed me to be there for my client. So, use good judgment and don't try to push things too far too often, but just generally speaking, be reasonable with yourself about what it is to live on call. Don't put undue stress on yourself, because this job becomes not sustainable if we're constantly feeling stressed about living on call. So, my best piece of advice, live like you're not on call, be prepared like you are. I hope that's helpful, but I'd love to hear more info from you guys about your challenges, what you do, your strategies, things like that. So talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.